Hi, it's Gadget UK here again. This is another Commodore 64. It's a long story. I don't do repairs for people generally, but where there's small things that I can do, I will if I can, if I've got time, if it's something that interests me. And in this instance, a friend of mine contacted me and said, "Look, I've got 2 Commodore 64 boards here, both are faulty. Do you mind if I send them to you and you can keep one?" So I thought, well, actually I could do with a spare board, actually, would be useful. So I said, yeah, okay, Commodore 64s generally, they take, I don't know, most of the time you can fix them in 5 to 10 minutes each. And that's certainly the case with the 2 boards he sent me. This one, you've had long enough to peer at this now, something should be evidently wrong here. I'll just zoom in a little bit, just so you can have a look. If I just scan around the board here, and just see if you can see anything that's just really sort of slaps you in the face, blatantly, wrong. Here, there's something clearly bizarre that I have seen it before. Actually, it took me a few seconds to think. I'm sure I've seen this before, and yeah, there is something mysterious, and it's somewhere in the middle of the board here. I don't think you can see this. If I just zoom in a little bit further than that, see the SID? Can you see what's on it? You've got some marking here that says pin 1, and you've got a little white blob up there to indicate pin 1, yet actually on the die you've got pin 1 marking down here, and the text is the opposite way around. It's genuine. I don't think this is a fake chip, unless it was a bootleg at the time, which was, I don't know, they must have got the original die prints or something, I don't know, because it is genuine, as you can hear. I've been playing different games and things on it, and it's spot on. The filters actually on this one are very good. This is the one I'm going to return to him, actually, because I thought it's a unique one. If anything, it might be worth something, this. I'd rather he had it. It was his board. It's a bit of a goldmine find for him, I guess, that it's quite a rare misprint at the factory. I could just imagine some junior's been given the task of loading the dies onto the production machine or whatever it is there that encapsulates them in a package like that, and he's got it round the wrong way, or put the packages in the wrong way or something. So I don't quite know how that would happen. But and it is an early revision. It's on there. It says, I think, 30th week of '83. So it's very early into the lifespan of the 64, as far as I understand. I think they came out '83, didn't they? I don't know whether they came out any earlier than '83, but it fits with the board revision and everything. And it's also one of these ones where everything's socketed, and I think from memory, some of the very, very early first runs and things, everything was socketed, I guess. And that kind of makes sense, if you're trialing a production run of these things, and you want to iron out the bugs, perhaps to start with, it's probably, it might not be cost effective, but it's a good idea just to socket the main chips and things just until you know exactly what's going on. And it may well be that at the point of manufacture, very early on, some of these chips weren't available. Maybe they had the boards assembled and thought, damn, we haven't got some of the ROMs, and some of the plants haven't got the SID or the PLA or whatever. So to start with, sticking sockets on there when you're producing the boards is a good idea, because then later someone can just manually have the job of sticking some of these chips in as they're available, quantities sort of increase and stuff in stock. So what was wrong with this 64? That SID was round the wrong way. Someone had previously taken it out, I think, and maybe to test whether it worked without it, and then stuck it back in according to that notch there, so it's actually round the wrong way. Coming back to what I was saying about, I've seen one of these before. I have. When I used to be in the trade, I can't remember, I think I came across one of these like this, and it had me perplexed then. I was thinking, I remember pointing out to my boss and saying, that's really weird. And I think we ordered some spares, and I think one of them came like this, brand new one. I think it was from CPC in Preston. I just vaguely remember seeing this marking here and the whole, it being completely reversed. But I mean, the first thing you think when you see that is, that must be a modern repro type thing. But I tell you, if it is, it's very good, because I've tested it with Alien, You've seen what the flange is like on a limb. It really sort of uses the filters in a really weird way. Emulators don't always handle that, and in fact, even the Nano Swinsid can't handle it. It's very difficult for them to get it to work just like this is. I've tested it on so many things, it's perfect. So yeah, the SID was round the wrong way. The other thing was there was a faulty CPU in the CAA socket here. I kid you not, 6510 in the CPU socket. And then the final thing is this CPU's been in and out of here I think a fair few times in the past, and as a result the socket's a bit shot. So in fact when I came to switch it on a few minutes ago, it was dead again, black screen. I was like, oh god, I'll fix this, and then I just noticed in the corner of my eye this whole row of pins on this side of the CPU where it was lifted right out. I had to push it really hard to get it to clip back in. So the one thing I'll do before I send this back is re-socket. Put a brand new 40-pin socket on that. The other sockets are all good, but I thought this would be good to give it back to him as it is, because it's got a nice unique SID there. It might be worth something to someone, it could be a collector's item or something, I don't know. It's a nice board revision this, and he's got the sockets as well, and I do know he tinkers with this stuff and electronics in general, so this would be good for him because everything's socketed. So when he gets other 64s and things, if he wants to have a tinker at repairing them, this is a good board to do it with, I think. So it gives a good picture as well. I'm impressed with the. It perhaps needs a recap because it's just slightly blurry. But if we just wait for the title screen to come back on there, you'll see the colours are very vibrant. They really are. It's a really nice, colourful display. Look at the colours on that. Yes, it's a little bit blurry. If I switch it off and on. Yeah, that's not too bad. There's a tiny bit of natural blurriness, I think, to the text there. So yeah, it could perhaps do with the modulator recapping. I don't want to do that. It's a pain in the backside. I'll have to get my desoldering station out because my standard soldering iron is not hot enough. You need a fair bit of heat to remove these, modulators from the board. But yeah, in general, it's in pretty good condition. I thought you'd find that SID particularly interesting there. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.